fish report. Hanging at the fish report. Hanging at the fish report. Hanging at the fish report. For your latest news in high school sports, tune in to the fish report. Don't need no bed, don't need no pull. When you tune in to the fish report. Hanging at the fish report. Hanging at the fish report. You got Craig and TK and FFD tuned in at the fish report.
Coming to you live from Studio F in Russia, Ohio. It's the Fish Report Live Show with your hosts, Craig Fissinger and Ken Francis.
Happy Thursday, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Fish Report Live. I'm Craig Fissinger. That is Ken Francis. We're your host. Back in our sound room, our two guys we like to call TK and Heavy D. We'll join them a little bit later in the program. And out in studio are, of course, it's the always lovable Covey. We'll talk to him here in just a little bit. And Ken, we took a couple weeks off, back for the winter sports season. And we love our fall sports. We love our spring sports. But the winter, it's all about being in the gym, isn't it?
Yes, it is, Craig. It was a great fall sports season. Very successful in the Shelby County League and in the MAC, of course. And it's took a couple weeks off. We kind of regenerated our batteries a little bit here, Craig, and getting ready for the basketball season. And it's always a lot of fun. It's boys basketball, it's girls basketball, and you can't beat the Shelby County Athletic League, the MAC, and some of the other conferences that we cover as well, including the CCC, of course. So looking forward to a fun basketball season, Craig. It's going to be a little different this year for myself and TK especially, where we're empty nesters now, and we don't know all these kids like we thought we used to know them all, right? So we're gonna have to do a little more study and a little more research, but for sure we're gonna have a lot of fun covering basketball season, Craig, and really looking forward to our interview tonight.
Yeah, one guy I do know very well is the coach of the Russia Raiders. That's Andy Timmerman. He's kind of been our annual guest. I guess this will be the fourth year in a row we're going to be talking to him tonight. And got the Russia Raiders every year. They're competitive. He's got a good record, and it looks like, or I'm sure he's going to expect similar results this year.
Know Coach Timmerman quite well, Craig. Got the honor of working next to him when he was coaching freshman boys basketball 5 years back, and had a great, successful season that year, and he's been just as well with the girls program, Craig, at Russia High School. He's in his fourth season. He comes in with a 56-22 record, an impressive 27-9 in the Shelby County Athletic League. Coach Timmerman, he's a great game coach. He really inspires the girls, and for a man of his age, super young talent that Russia has coaching the athletic program of girls basketball.
We'll talk more about him later when we get him on the phone and on this show here. We're going to talk tonight. We're going to cover all the conferences as the weeks go on here. We're going to focus on the Shelby County Athletic League tonight, and we're going to focus on just girls basketball tonight because boys will be starting. The girls open this weekend, the boys open next weekend. So next week we'll talk a little boys. But let's get our viewers ready for this weekend and the games coming up. But the first thing let's do, Ken, is go over last year's standings. Maybe remind our viewers where we ended up last year, and maybe tell our viewers, what seniors graduated, just get everybody up to speed.
Well, Craig, when we look at last year's standings and you look at Fort Loramie on top, Craig, they had a very impressive season last year under Coach Carlos Siegel. We interviewed Coach Siegel last year. I got the opportunity to talk to Coach Siegel about all of her seniors last year, and it took exactly 0 seconds, and that's because she had no seniors. So look for the Fort Loramie Redskins to be an absolute powerhouse this year. Coach Carlos Siegel has got the cupboard full of athletes from 9th grade all the way through 12th grade, and I look for the Redskins to be very, very strong in girls basketball at the varsity and JV level. Last year, of course, coming off of a 12-0 perfect league record, 26-2 overall. Anna, Craig, I think will be very good this year as well. Russia Coach Timmerman's going to be interesting to see what he has to say tonight, Craig. They finished 8-4 in the Shelby County League last year. It'll be interesting to see how he blends in that athletic group of young freshmen into the varsity role. It did not take the Russia volleyball program long to get those freshmen acclimated to the volleyball court. I think Coach Timmerman's going to do a very similar thing with the girls program, and I know he'll do a very good job with them. So I think those three teams will probably be the best three teams in the Shelby County League again. Last year, Houston, Fairlawn, and Botkins, and then Jackson Center struggled. I don't see a whole lot changing down there as far as the whole standings go this year. But that's kind of a recap of the way it was last year.
Well, we lost a couple good seniors, I know, here in Russia and Jenna Credonier and Larissa Pulling, two very good athletes. We'll see what Coach Timmerman does to replace them. You're right about Fort Laramie. I agree with you on that one. Anna, they graduated Bree Cuck over there. Got a chance to call one of her games. I believe she was some type of three-point record holder over there, maybe career three, something like that over there at Anna, but a very good player. Nonetheless, and Fairlawn, Lauren Dungeon did a very good job for them. They finished there in the middle of the pack. I think that program is maybe going to come around a little bit this year. We'll talk to Covey about that here in a second. But, too bad they couldn't have kept her. Coach Cathcart couldn't have kept her one more season because I do see some potential there.
Speaking of Coach Cathcart, can we get him on the show this year?
We'll get him, no doubt about it, Ken. He's a fun guy, and we've talked to him in years past. We'll definitely get him on this show, and he's always a lot of fun. So speaking of Covey, let's head out to Studio R, Ken. Get Covey. He's an expert during the fall. Covey, you helped us cover football. We're going to lean on you now for a lot of girls and boys basketball talk this winter sports season, if that's okay with you.
I'm okay with that. I'm ready to get back in the gym. First game's on Tuesday.
Well, Ken and I were just going over last year's standings. Like to, talked about seniors that graduated. Would like to go to you now for maybe what's coming back. Maybe you could tell us some players. I know you got a list maybe of some girls that are coming back this season, and maybe get your thoughts on how that league might shake out. Ken kind of told us his thoughts here already.
Yeah, so first, you come back to Shelby County. Obviously, you have to look at the Fort Laramie Redskins. That's pretty clear and obvious there. They didn't lose anyone. They didn't really gain anyone really either, so there's not much fluctuating at the top. They're the top 8 to 10 there for Coach Carlos Siegel. And I look at their schedule, and here's the teams that I think will beat them during that 22-game regular season. I'll list them right now. Well, there you go. I think those are the teams that are going to beat them this year. Really, if you have to look at it, the teams on their schedule that are going to challenge them, I think are Minster right away, which they play off the bat on Saturday, and then West Liberty Salem, who's a solid D3 team, who was the only team to beat them during the regular season last year. They've got a solid core, bringing back Player of the Year Marissa Meyering. You got Dana Rose, Kenzie Holscher, Kennedy Gephardt, Taylor Rotterman, and they're bringing back their whole bench too. So this is a deep team. If you look at probably the second best team, I go with the Anna Rockets over there and Coach Maurer. He returned to, I think, could be Player of the Year candidate in Lauren Barhorst. She came back from 2 ACL tears for her freshman and sophomore year and put together an outstanding junior year because nobody knew who she was. She flew under the radar. She's a good, big inside body. She'll be complimented there by Ella Dosek there, who's been a really nice point guard since her freshman year. And Kip Rowland, too, being kind of that third amigo right there, kind of chipping in points, playing some defense. Botkins, you look there, Carmen Huker. She's a sophomore. She's coming back. She's going to need to bring some scoring depth along with fellow sophomore Boston Paul. That's a big thing for Coach Groves over there, is they're going to need to be able to score some points. That's a big thing that's been haunting Botkins is they've put together some nice teams defensively but haven't really been able to put the ball through the basket. You look around the Fairlawn Jets. They bring back Michaela Hulskamp, excellent volleyball player. Also bringing back Lana Heath. She was an excellent volleyball player as well as basketball player this year. Fairlawn going in the upswing. Coach Cathcart just doing a fantastic job there. We loved his interview last year. We hope we can have him back on the show. You look at the Russia Raiders, the hometown Raiders. I think they're going to finish in third place in the SCL this year. They're definitely, I think they're kind of in a similar boat that Botkins is. You're really going to have to look at where they're going to score their points, and that's a big thing. They lose Jenna Credonier and Larissa Pulling. I know from doing quite a handful of their games last year how much Jen and Larissa were relied on for probably 75% of the scoring. Where's that going to come from? It's got to start with Ashley Scott, the returning top player. Jessica York's got to take a leap like she did in volleyball this year, and you're going to have to look at some freshmen coming in as well. We'll see. It'll be very interesting. I haven't seen Russia play yet, so I'll be interested to see what they can do. Look over on the MAC. You have to look at the two-time defending state champions, the Minster Wildcats, and what Coach Wiss has done. Courtney Pranger off to Xavier. Actually started for Xavier yesterday in their loss to Ball State. But they bring back Ivy Wolf. They bring back Janae Hoying. And the big question is, what do they have behind them? That's what I think is going to be the biggest difference maker for the Wildcats if they want to make a third run at another state title. I think their biggest challenger is going to be the Knoxville Rangers. And I think New Knoxville's legit, too. They didn't lose much off of a team that lost to Minster by about 13 or so in the district finals. watch out for the Rangers over there. They're going to be a very talented team. Really, outside that, you go over the cross-county conference, you look at Coach Gray's Tri-Village Patriots. They bring back the Downing sisters. They bring back Trisha Porter, Lisa Seiler. I mean, these are people names that we've been calling for 2 years. I think this is Laramie's biggest threat in the regionals is the Tri-Village Patriots. And they also have a freshman by the name of Riley Sagaster. Yes, former coach Josh Sagaster's daughter. She's a freshman. Hasn't even stepped on the court yet, and she's already got offers from Detroit and Wright State University out of the Horizon League. So Tri-Village is going to have a really good team, really scary. This team might be the new Fort Laramie.
That's a great report there, Covey. And I was wondering where Tri-Village was going to be this year, because I seen them play a couple years ago. They played Russia, and I thought, and they were at that time they were like freshmen and sophomores. I thought, boy, this team's got a lot of talent. And I knew that most of them were still around, and I'd heard as well about the Sagaster girl, and boy, she must be a player to be getting D1 recruit letters already or offers before she's even stepped on the court.
Yeah, pretty crazy to think that recruiting gets that early, but you got to think, no disrespect for Wright State or Detroit, but maybe bigger names might be calling here in the future, but don't really want to think about it too much early. Just kind of go play your game as a freshman and sophomore and just feel it out and get more serious maybe about it your junior year.
Well, good synopsis of the area there, Covey. Getting back to the SCAL, let's talk about what's coming up this weekend. Of course, Friday night, just 2 games, so starting out with kind of a short schedule. 2 SCAL teams, that are playing. They're both hosting opponents. Botkins is hosting the Polar Bears from up there at Hardin Northern. I don't know much about them, but should be a good first game for Botkins. And then, of course, Russia is hosting Sydney, as we mentioned a little earlier, a game that you and I got a call last year over there at Sydney. And Sydney kind of got off to a rough start last year, and then it just continued all year long, kind of an injury-riddled season for them. They finished 0-23. The coach, Lauren Stefanson, actually out of there. She's moving back closer to home up to Mentor. They have a new coach this year, and that's probably a good thing for the Yellow Jackets, isn't it?
Yeah, Coach Jamal over there is really going to have Sydney playing at a new level. He's the 9-year AAU coach. A Sydney High School graduate, so he's really got to reinvigorate that program over there down at Sydney. They do have, from I remember, Samantha Reynolds. She was a nice post player last year for him. They did lose star player Alina Kendall early to a hand injury. Otherwise, the Yellow Jackets definitely would have put some numbers up in the win column there last year. They just struggled last year, just not having the talent and being in the GWAC and in Division I's tough. But they moved to the MVL this year, the Miami Valley League, the newly created league. I think Sydney can improve, move up to about 5-17, 6-16, just with those baby steps this year. But I think Russia pulls away with the victory on Friday. And Botkins, Hardin Northern, can't really give a prediction on that one when I don't know much about the Polar Bears. So we'll see what they do.
Yeah, you mentioned Coach Jamal. You called him Coach Jamal Foster over there at Sydney. That is, they do have the Truesdale girls coming back as well. The kicker, remember, for the football team,
yeah.
And a couple freshmen that are coming in this year. That I know Jim Dabble came out with his Dabble report. Freshmen to watch, and they were listed on that freshman watch, as well as a bunch of other kids from the Miami Valley around the area, sophomores through seniors to watch. But I agree, it should be a good game.
Covey, let me ask you about a game, a potential matchup Saturday night that I feel could be a very big game right out of the bat here, would be at the Tri-Village Tip-Off Classic, whatever they call that over there. You could have Tri-Village versus Versailles playing on Saturday. I think that's a big early, good season, good matchup right there between probably 2 good basketball teams.
Yeah, and we talk about it, and we're disappointed when we go over Versailles. We always have our annual interview with Jackie Stonebreaker over there, and unfortunately she resigned to take the principal job. Very successful tenure she had over there with the Lady Tigers. I mean, just a class act right there was Jackie Stonebreaker. But yeah, this new coach here at Versailles, she's going to have possibly the Tri-Village Patriots right at her hand, but she has Lindsay Winter as a disposal on the inside, Caitlin McEldowney running the point guard, so a very good combo right there. But I think Tri-Village might be a little too much. I think Versailles, maybe on a similar trajectory as last year, I think they'll finish up with about maybe an 18-4, 19-3 regular season, make a deep run into the regionals, possibly contending for a state tournament. Don't know if they're quite going to be a state team this year, but I definitely think they can be put in contention, and they can string wins together at the right times come February and March. they definitely can do it.
Well, we got 1 minute left here, Covey. Real quick, Ken mentioned Saturday night, a couple more SCAL games on Saturday night, both traveling to MAC teams. And, of course, Russia is back on the road again for the second night in a row. They're going to New Bremen for the first time in forever, I think. But I know it's been a long time. We won't talk about that one right now. But the other game is, talk about a biggie. You're talking about maybe a Tri-Village Versailles matchup. How about this Fort Laramie at Minster? This is like Ohio State and Alabama playing football the first game of the season.
Yeah, you're spot on right there with that analogy with Craig. Really, I think it's going to be a feel-out process for both teams. Laramie coming off that state runner-up in volleyball, bringing some girls back, but they've had to have some girls that practice the whole time like Dana Rose and Kennedy Gephardt. So it's really going to be a feel-out process for both teams. I really think, too, Minster's going to find out who they are early because it's definitely going to be their biggest test on their schedule. But they really need to find out who them third and fourth scorers are going to be behind Ivy and Janae. They're going to run the point. Who's going to be down low on the block there and be able to defend a Marissa Meyering and Mackenzie Holscher. So I think it's going to be very interesting. I think Laramie's more likely. I think Laramie will win, but I think they're more likely to come out rusty because they haven't been practicing together for as long. Mm-hmm. I think Minster will still be a good team and definitely in contention for taking, I believe, what would be their fifth or sixth district title in a row out there in that Northwest district.
Well, if Laramie can get the win, that'll be a good one because that was their last loss of the season in the regional finals. Of course, Minster went on to win a state championship, and so again, that would be a good win for the Redskins. All right, Covey, well, thanks for that. We'll look forward to talking to you more in the weeks to come about girls and boys basketball. All right, Ken, we'll take a short break, but viewers, stay right there because when we come back, we're going to continue our girls basketball talk, including that big interview with Russia coach Andy Timmerman.
Open stage at the leaving van. Music starts at 8 o'clock. You can find us here every Wednesday night. It's usually the same cats every week, but I can't tell you all their names. Teacher, cat, and a junkie, all waiting for time to play. Everybody here's got something that we're trying to leave behind. We're all a little broken, for a place to hide. Get no answers, don't ask any questions. We're all here just looking for a high. And we're all beautifully broken here tonight.
And welcome back to the second half of Fish Report Live. Before the break, Ken and I were getting everyone pumped up for the start of the girls' basketball season this weekend, and that brings us to our next guest. He is in his fourth season as the head coach of the Russia Lady Raiders basketball program. During that time, he's accumulated an overall record of 56-22, including an impressive 27-9 in the SCAL. He opens the 2019-2020 season this Friday night, hosting Sydney. We welcome back to the program once again, Andy Timmerman. Coach, thanks for joining us on Fish Report Live.
Hey, guys. Thanks a lot for having me.
Listen, you got to be excited about the season starting this Friday night. I know from a fan standpoint, Coach, I'm excited. You know, there's always that sense or that hope that, hey, this is going to be our year. Well, you know, you've been doing this for 4 years now. What excites you the most after 4 years coming into a new season like this?
I think this year's a little bit different than in past years. I think the biggest thing for us this year is the numbers that we have. We had 26 girls in the high school programs. We have a freshman team this year for the first time in several years. So I think that from top to bottom, there's a ton of competition, and I think that leads to good practices and girls pushing each other, because you never know, someone could take your spots if you're not competing and improving throughout the year. So I think that's what I'm excited about this year.
Well, Coach, you scrimmaged a little earlier this week on Tuesday night. I believe you went over to Franklin Monroe and took on a Jets team that looks to be probably very solid in the CCC this year. When you go into a scrimmage, Coach, what kind of things are you looking for, or what do you hope to see from your team in a preseason scrimmage?
I think biggest thing is just learning from what we've been talking about in practice and throughout the game. I know this year we got started a little bit later because of the success that the volleyball team had going to regional finals. So we had a little bit later start for the varsity-wise for some of those girls. So just getting them back into basketball shape and getting them back into, what we're trying to do offensively and defensively, and trying to get the basics down here before the first game this week.
Coach, good evening to you. This is Ken. I'm sure when you're feeling things out, you're talking about all the kids you've got playing this year. But one thing you got to be looking for is leadership. And gone from last year's team are two very veteran players that you were lucky to have in Jenna Canania, Larissa Poling. So you've got to be looking for new leaders. Who are you looking at right now?
I think we got, unique, or statistically, Ashley Scott and Jessica York are two of our leaders in that category. But I think we have three other seniors that have, unique roles, and I think they all done a really good job of being positive leaders for our entire program. And then we have a couple juniors and a sophomore, and then several others that will be on the varsity team. But I think that it starts with the seniors. This is their fourth year in the program, and this is my fourth year coaching. So this is the first group I've had for 4 years. So I think they know my expectations, our expectations of the program, and I think that part of it's a huge part in guiding those other players.
Coach, like Craig said, it's always fun. It's exciting. It's opening night tomorrow night. It's hard to believe that it's basketball season, and really looking forward to getting back in the gymnasium and watching the girls play. For the 19th consecutive season, we're opening up against the Sydney Yellow Jackets. And it's got to be tough preparing for a team that you really have no idea what to expect from. What do you expect from Sydney? How do you prepare? How do you get your kids prepared for an opening night game like you've got tomorrow night?
I feel like I don't have to do it too much because they've been waiting for this time for quite a while. Especially those who weren't in a fall sport. They've been doing this for several months, preparing for this first game. But I think it's just, we got to focus on ourselves. Obviously, there's not much of a scouting report on them. I know they have a new coach, so it'll be a little bit different, not knowing exactly what they're going to run or anything like that. But I think that's where we just got to focus on ourselves and make sure we're executing the things that we need to. I think the girls, like I said, they're excited to play, and I won't have to do much pumping up or anything like that because they'll be ready to go.
Coach, what a busy weekend. You're going to play 2 games in the first 18 hours of the season. So because you come right back and play Saturday at 1 o'clock in the afternoon against New Bremen Cardinals, a team just coming off of a state championship that has probably practiced very little. However, they're loaded with talent. They've got athletes. And, we haven't played that team in over 20 years. How did this get set up? And tell our listeners a little more about the Cardinals.
Yeah, they've had a successful, obviously, several volleyball seasons here lately, and the same thing with the basketball program. They've had a nice basketball program over the last several years. I just graduating from Bremen, I know Chris Burden over there, so it makes sense. They're a nice, good program over there, not too far of a distance. So I feel like that's kind of how that got set up. But definitely full of talent, and it'll be a good game. But we're excited. It's the first time that we played back to back, and I've never played Friday, Saturday, so it'll be a unique situation. Another unique situation playing so early, 1 o'clock, with the football team going further into playoffs. But I'm excited for the weekend, and I think girls are as well.
Coach, I got to ask you, speaking of Cardinal football, are you fired up for the Cardinals, or are you going to go watch the big football game Saturday night?
No, I won't be going, but I'm definitely excited for them. It's been a long time since I was probably junior high since they've been to the playoffs. So I'm glad for their success, and hopefully it continues. Hopefully they can beat Marion local.
Hey, Coach, we got time for one more question, but I want to ask you a question as a fan of the game. I talked about being a fan at the top of this interview. From a fan's perspective, I wanted to ask you about the back in August, the OHSAA made an announcement that they're moving the girls' state tournament. It's not going to be hosted at the Schottenstein Center anymore. This season, it's actually moving to St. John's Arena, and then the following season, I guess it's to be determined. And supposedly this is due to some scheduling conflicts with the OSU basketball, as well as some hockey games. Your thoughts from a fan's perspective? Do you like the move? Are you excited about it? Would you rather see it stay at the Shot like it's been for so many years?
I think it's exciting, just something a little bit different. I don't know St. John's Arena, all that well. I know there's probably some parents out there that would, love to get back in that gym and see some basketball being played in there. I think it's a little bit closer. I think the atmosphere-wise for the girls' tournament, that might be a little bit nicer. But I'm just glad it's staying in Columbus. I think that going to Columbus is a huge goal for high school and girls basketball players, and I just hope it doesn't get changed and moved to anywhere else but Columbus. I think if it's either of those two places, it's not too bad, but I think it'll be definitely a big change and a disappointment if it does get moved out of Columbus.
Well, listen, Coach, we appreciate you being on our show this evening. We're excited to watch your girls team again this year. Best of luck to you. You've done a great job with the program. We love having you here in Russia, and good luck. You got in those couple games to start the season off this weekend.
Hey, thanks a lot. I appreciate you guys having me on tonight.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, that was the head coach of the Russia Raiders, Andy Timmerman, in his 4th year. And Ken, he's got a good record after 3 years. I expect nothing less this season.
That's right. So,
well, let's head back to the sound room and check in with TK and Heavy D. Welcome them back for the winter sports season. And TK, we're talking winter sports, but there's still some fall sports being played right now.
There are still fall sports, and there's a lot of teams around us that are still involved in those fall sports. So I wanted to hit some of the highlights in the football and not forget about that, even though we don't have all that much in Shelby County. We're down to one Shelby County team left. We'll get to that. Start out with D7, Marion Local, New Bremen, a MAC matchup there. Those teams did not play each other in the regular season, though they scrimmaged way back in maybe August. So that was a long time ago, and it was, I heard, a pretty even scrimmage at that time, but both teams have changed a lot. The big key to this one, I think, is the fact that New Bremen still doesn't have much of a passing game, and we know what Marion Local can do to a running game when they shut down Anna and two of the best runners in the state. I see Marion's probably going to lean towards the favorite on this one, but hopefully New Bremen keeps up their positive activity. They had a big win last weekend, and I think they're going to play well, and it should be a close game. This Saturday. That's in Wapak. D6. We got a couple going on Friday night in Pickle. We got Covington versus Mechanicsburg. Covington, a team that Covey has loved all year, and they've proven him right all year. I think they're going to continue. It's in Pickle, as I said. It's going to seem like a home game for Covington, and I think they're going to take that one. Then that would make an interesting matchup if Anna against Archibald, and Anna wins, and you have Anna and Covington playing. Archibald, big win this year over Coldwater. They've got a running game and a passing game, over 250 yards a game average in their passing game. That's what got Anna in trouble last week and got them down 14-0 early to Fairview. So if Anna can figure out the pass defense and get those running backs going in Bixler and Huelskamp, I lean towards Anna, but they got to learn how to stop the pass, or this is just going to be a barn burner, and the last team to score is going to win that game. Then want to go over and lean on the OHC, West Liberty Salem against West Jefferson, two big rivals there over in the Ohio Heritage Conference. They played early this season. They were 42-39. West Liberty won that one. This game is at Sydney, so if you want to see another barn burner, head up to Sydney on Saturday night. I expect the scores to be just as high in that game. It should be exciting. So there we go. Those are probably the big games and the close games this weekend. So go out and watch a little football and have some fun if you like football.
Well, hopefully TK Covey can't hear you over there in Studio R because you did an excellent job with that football report. You just might steal his job next year.
I don't know if I'm that good. I had a week to study up on 6 teams, so I think it's a little easier.
Well, let's go over to Heavy D. And Heavy D, we had this interview with Coach Timmerman before, and I know you're very close to the program. You have a daughter in his program right now, and he's got a very fine group of Lady Raiders. They're a great team. And then when we started talking to Coach Timmerman on this show 4 years ago, it was just him and his wife Kate. He now has 2 daughters that he added to the family since then. I think you better tell Coach Timmerman if he ever needs some guy time, he can hang out with us here at the Fish Report studio. What do you think?
That'd be a good call. Yeah, he'd fit right in with us, I think. Yeah, hopefully he hangs around to coach his daughters down the road. So from the mailbag.
Yes.
Dear Heavy D, with the time change, it's dark late at night. Do you have a hobby? What do you do for fun?
Uh-oh.
Great question. I don't bowl. I don't golf. I don't play cards. I don't vape. So I'm trying to think of what I can be doing. I'm thinking that I could be good. I could become a woodist. Someone who makes crafts out of wood. I think I might have coined the term woodist. Like this sweet bowl right here.
Yeah.
I think I could do something like that.
Well, you said you don't bowl. That's a bowl. That's bowling, I think. Maybe a different type of bowling.
Good call. Good call.
But
You could put some popcorn in there. You can sit back and watch our show on replay or something.
I have a chop saw and a drill. I need some more tools. My wife said, you make something out of wood. One thing. And then we'll go from there. So cleaned out the basement tonight, trying to get a little workshop down there, put some of the kids' toys away. Woodist.
Nice.
Might be a woodist.
Good luck.
Well, I might have to come up with some Christmas gift ideas if you're a woodist now. I'm not sure how quick you are, but
get some tools.
Yeah, get some. Yeah, something like that.
Uh-huh.
All right.
Good stuff.
Great hobby.
Good.
Great hobby. All right.
All right.
You never know what you're going to get when you go back to the sound room.
No, that's for sure. Great reports back there, guys.
All right, well, that's going to wrap it up for our crew here tonight. Do want to say special thanks to our guest, Andy Timmerman, for joining us on the show. Thanks to the viewers out there for tuning in. As always, Ken and I and the crew will all be back again next week, same time, same place. Until then, have a great rest of the week, everyone.
Hanging at the fish report. 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 For your latest news in high school sports, tune in to the Fish Report. Don't need no bed, don't need no pull. When you tune in to the Fish Report, hanging at the Fish Report. Hanging